Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, hope you're doing well. Now, this is the third and I think final video I'm going to post today, and it's going to be one on Jabari Panther. Now, I've literally for the last 2-3 hours been kind of playing about with this champion, trying to find out what content I like. We're going to show some footage in a minute. I'm going to show footage of a 565 and a rank 3 6-star unawakened, because I just think it's a bit more realistic as opposed to saying like, oh, 200 signature, who's got 200 signature 6-star lying around? So it's what is kind of like on the believable scale. I'm also rocking Suicide Masteries for this particular setup. I can't speak. And one of the things that I would probably say is Deep Wounds would probably be a good mastery to have for this. And as well something that prolongs the extent of the stun debuff. So Stupefy, that would be good. And anything, yeah, that just kind of prolongs the stunning effects would probably be like two different things, I would say, from a mastery setup. The champion is a bleed machine, essentially. A lot of the times what I was doing with this champion was to build it up to a point of close to, I'd go like parry, hit, which would build a Huntress charge. And then in case it build to 10, and then you go into hunt mode, which then allows you to do a lot more with bleed damage. And if you time it well, you go, right, I've got 10 charges, I go into hunt mode and say I throw an SP3 or a special attack in general. I like throwing an SP3 and then, you know, maybe it's case SP2. I played around with different methods. You get a fury buff. You get the stun debuff prolonged for a longer expanse of time. And it's great. It's great on damage. There are going to be some limitations to this champion from the point of usage, and it's very much reliant on having that stun to hit kind of ratio, or at least kind of like shrugging off debuff effects, which that's one thing that's great about this champion is you get a debuff effect on you, you get to shrug it off, which is good. Sometimes I feel like it does happen and doesn't happen, and it looks like there's something in a way that it doesn't properly work with Suicide Masteries, with that poison and bleed debuff not being able to be shrugged off at the point of the start of any different match. But anyway, let's just kind of like throw out some footage and just like talk about what I like, what I didn't like about the champion. So firstly, we've got this interaction with Captain Marvel Classic. This is with the 565 version, and it just showcases what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like just getting a few hits in to build up my power bar. And then I'm going to start going into the parry and then hit. You'll see top left hand corner. It'll pop up in a second. There, parry hit, that went up to 4. I'm going to try that in a second. Again, trying to build up to the SP3 bar, kind of like all ready for it. And there is some good damage. There's some good damage. I think she's very good with Suicide Masteries. More so if you use around the SP3 because you won't get the recoil damage. So that's something to mention as well. So you can see we're building up. We're at 9. And then I'm going to go there, hit. I'm in hunted, hit it again. You have that 1 second kind of like little snippet of time before you kind of lose out an opportunity. And then once you're in here, you'll either get a stun debuff. I think it's whenever the next time it triggers, you get stun debuff. So therefore, we didn't get the stun debuff just then. But again, it's down to like timing and preparation and throwing it at the right time. And that's the thing I'm trying to do is if you throw a heavy attack, you get to double up the extent of your... and I didn't do that. I should have thrown a heavy attack whilst I was in hunt mode because you're able to get a stonks amount of bleed damage just right off the bat, and that may be the best thing to do. I think we get that in the next piece of footage, but again, this is all about the process of trying to learn this champion in a very quick amount of time. I literally had 2 to 3 hours before this video has gone live to kind of go like, okay, well, thoughts on her, and yeah, like the bleed damage is nice in this 565 interaction. It's just over 100 hits, which isn't too bad for a 565. Could be better, but again, this is down to Suicide Masteries, and as well, it's not rocking Deep Wounds, which I would recommend if you were trying to look into maximize any kind of bleed damage. This is with the full synergy of the champion as well. But again, this is the 6-star rank 3 unawakened version, which it would be good to do the awakened version just to, again, to show any kind of like, you know, fun interactions and stuff. But you know, it's just nice to see a really good bleed damage champion. I gotta be honest, I don't see myself having any great interest with it. It's got its perks, and especially if you want something that's like Angela with high signature meets Nick Fury, then you kind of got that there, but you've not got it at the same time. It's like bashing together a skill champion that's got the shrug offs. It's like a little bit of Aegon, because Aegon's got his shrugging off. You got as well like other types of things smushed in there. That was good actually. Threw an SP2 around. I've gone into Huntress mode and then done that heavy attack in order to maximize, and then again to kind of like just like double up or kind of get more of the bleed debuff. So that's the other method there of play. And I could do, and I think I'm going to do this now. I'm going to build up to be hunted again. So I'm going to go parry and then hit, parry, then hit, build up those Huntress charges, boom. And if I had cleanse on, I'm sure I would cleanse like debuffs. It's weird I don't cleanse the poison and the bleed, but it is what it is. I think if that was cleansing the liquid courage and the double edge, I think this champion would be higher up on my interest list that I want to get, especially if I was rocking Suicide Masteries as a constant. But again, this is the same method of kind of you have to build as much as possible as much as possible. You have to build up those Huntresses. You have to go into the hunt to do bleed damage, and that's really kind of like it with a champion. And you can just like repeat this method if it works for you. So parry, hit, in order to get hunted. And then, yeah, so I kind of like hit that off. I think I might have hit that off a little bit too early, especially because the hunt's got to be activated, or the hunt will be activated in a second. So let's just see. So I'm hoping to see a stun. I do see the stun that I want to see that prolongs it longer. So maybe it's best to kind of like just before you switch over to the hunt is to then do that. And there we go, 67 hits to get down the champion. I probably think that if I could get the rotations better and as well timing that stun better, getting the champion down quicker would probably be an easier thing. This is showcasing the Biohazard, and it's again, as I said, it's very weird. So against Biohazard, if we're on the attack, we're cleansing all those debuffs. It's great, but at the same time, we're not cleansing that double edge and liquid courage, which I think is a big limitation. But apart from that, there's some good kind of interaction with shrugging off those debuffs. The same thing can be said with other content. This is 6.4.4, and where we've got things like I think this is not energy absorption. Is it energy absorption? Something like that. Energy absorption. Freezing or kind of like cold snap or something. So basically I want to just see that shrugging off cold snap effects, which it does, which is great, and that's exactly what I just want to showcase, is that it shrugs off good chunks of stuff, but it's just very weird that it doesn't against liquid courage and as well on things like that double edge, because that's the fundamental part of like why you'd want to shrug this off. The same way that you've got the phasing of the effects with Ghost, the same way with other champions that purify those particular debuffs. So yeah, I mean, I like the champion. I just don't know I can see this champion being something that we put in my roster, which is annoying because I've picked up, or I will be picking up as a result of the compensation thing from Odin. I'll be having some early access crystals, so if I do get her, I will be like, okay, great, there will be some interaction. But if I want to rock Suicide Masteries down the line, which you kind of think, okay, I can purify that, or I can cleanse those effects and still retain some kind of like non-ticking of damage, and also I've got to rotate around the SP3. There's pluses and minuses to this. It's just very restrictive and strangely restrictive for those that have Suicide Masteries, that are still seeing Liquid Courage and are still seeing that double edge, and they're not shrugging it off, which I just find a little bit crazy. But definitely the ability to shrug off stuff is cool. It's just a case of like, well, is a full interaction there? And as well, I know that Kabam have pointed out a few things, and I'm sure players will point out a few areas where she doesn't 100% shrug off all debuffs, or some of the debuffs based on interaction. But more on that at a different time. There's also some idea of suppression around evade abilities, which is I think it's on the SP1. No, it's not on the SP1. It's on the Hunt, which is there whenever Jabari Panther purifies a debuff or the opponent fails a miss or evade, pause the Hunt and purify and Fury buffs on Jabari Panther for 2 seconds. It pauses it for a few seconds. So there's some stuff there. The opponent cannot trigger the Dexterity Mastery, evade or cause attack or miss. That's when you're in the Hunt, which I think is good. That means it's an option against the likes of Spider-Man, anything that evades. So yeah, there's some pluses, but I just think it's a bit meh when it comes to the full scheme of shrugging off or cleansing ability, which is just a bit kind of yeah, just wishy-washy, and especially against this fact of Double Edge and Liquid Courage. Good damage though overall. Bleeds are insane. Love the bleeds. It's just the other stuff that kind of lets her down. But, you know, what is your thoughts? Put it in the comment section down below. And finally, check out some other content located up here. Put a lot of content out today. There's still a lot of content about this month need to be posted. So, yeah, come and check it out. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.